So what is the prime factorization of 250? And first of all, what the heck is prime factorization? Well, prime factorization is breaking down a composite number into the product of its smallest prime factors. Basically exactly how it sounds. So let's say we have 250. I want to write this, or I want to create branches from 250 for two numbers that when I multiply them will give me 250. Now, when I'm looking at this number, I see a really obvious choice. For me, I see 25 times 10. So I'm going to write that down. 25 here times 10 here. And then we're going to take each of our numbers and see if we can break that down further into prime numbers. And the first question you just have to ask yourself is this number prime? In other words, are there any numbers aside from 1 in itself that can go into it? And the answer here is yes, because I can multiply 5 times 5 to give me 25. Now these numbers here are prime because there's nothing else that can go into them aside from 1 and 5. So I'll circle this here because I'm done with this 5, and I'll circle this here. Let's go back to 10. What numbers can I multiply to give me 10, aside from 1 and 10 itself? Well, I can multiply 2 times 5. That'll give me 10. 2 is a prime number. So here, I'm done with this branch, and 5 is also a prime number, so I'm done here. Now, the bottom of my tree, by the way, this thing here, from the tippy top all the way down here, this is what you call a, write it down here, a factor tree. This is not the prime factorization. This is the factor tree that tells us what the prime factorization is. It's a tool that helps us find the prime factorization. Now, like I said, the prime factorization is the product of numbers that are prime that will give me the number that I started with. So if I multiplied 5 times 5 times 2 times 5, it would give me 250. And the way I would write that, the way I like to start doing it, is with the smallest number first. So I'll write the number 2 here. Times, and then I'll write all of the other numbers here. 5 times 5 times 5. So this here is my prime factorization. But you see how we have these numbers here that repeat? We can rewrite this using something called exponential notation. It's a fancy word that allows us to write this a lot easier. So we'll call it exponential, exponential notation. And what exponential notation does is it allows us to write this repeated multiplication using an exponent. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to write an arrow past that, and I've got 5 times 5 times 5. So I'll write the number 5 here. And how many times am I multiplying that 5 by itself? Well, I've got 1, 2, 3 5s. So I'm going to write an exponent of 3. An exponent is a little number on the upper right corner. And it tells us how many times we multiply this number by itself. And then I'll just bring down this 2. And I'll bring down the multiplication symbol as well. So this here was our prime factorization. This here is our prime factorization using exponential notation. And again, exponential notation is just a fancy way of saying I'm going to write all this stuff here that repeats, all this repeated multiplication with an exponent instead of writing it the long way.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
And thanks for using Mr. Ace Math. Don't just pass math, ace it.